We have a special case today from the third season of Love is Blind, and we're gonna see the narcissistic signals that you have to spot before you get caught in this kind of, well, webs. Hello, welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And the not so happy couple that brings us together today is Zanab Jaffrey and Cole Barnett. They were participants in this show, this reality show called Love is Blind, where the premise of the show is that this couple date without seeing each other, and the only way that they can see each other is effectively getting engaged. Then they have 10 days to, well, get to know each other better until they finally get married, if they say yes at the end, of course, because you can't just quit at any point of the process. Now, the narcissistic tactics that I'm going to explain are regardless if you think these shows are real or are not that real, or are real just in part, or you know that they are not real but you enjoy them anyway. That doesn't matter. What I'm going to explain here will help you identify the signals. Well, it's hard enough that someone is going to get to a wedding without planning on, well, actually marrying the man and just saying no at the last minute. And in this case, Zanab even prayed with him about them as a couple before telling him to get lost. So I want to be very clear about this. If you are so hurt by a man, if you don't want anything to do with him, I don't think, if you're a sane person, that you're gonna get this all to the end just to embarrass him. Because you can imagine that she being dressed and all this stuff is embarrassing herself at the same time. So that already is a huge flag. Sane people, or people that value their own mental health and people that are aware of that, do not go to this lengths to get back at someone. This is not it. But of course you're asking, what does it have to do with the fact that we are going to meet a narcissist and such and such? Well, it has to do with this. In the final meeting of the series, after everything happened, what you're watching right now is before the wedding. In the final meeting, she alleged that he had body shamed her, that he had criticized her in some way, especially with this episode of some tangerines. I think that they're called also clementines, or it is the brand is cuties, the cutie incident. So it seems that she was like eating some tangerines, and he was asking her, well, why are you spoiling your appetite? We're gonna have a great dinner soon. And according to herself, she claims that only saying that was body shame her, because he asked the question if she wanted to get, wedding dress body ready. If she wanted her body to be wedding dress ready. That is all that he said, nothing more. So yes, claiming that that was body shaming is a bit overkill, if you ask me. I don't know if this is part of the snowflake generation or what, but I can tell you one thing about this kind of incidents. Narcissists tend to grab any petty incident and escalate it in such a way that you begin to doubt if, maybe you are the villain, maybe you are the one who made a mistake, maybe you are the insensitive one, maybe you are actually body shaming the other person, when it's the narcissist that is going to grab anything that happens so you can feel guilty about that. They're going to escalate petty things like this one. Now, having said that, there's another incident when Cole asks her if she's bipolar, which it's a bit odd, since even as a joke, is a very bad taste joke. And the fact is that he asked Dad, are you bipolar? He didn't ask that once or twice. He asked that 3 times, and not even a hint of a joke. Look at this.
I am.
Except for when you have a bad attitude. Are you bipolar?
We're having a very serious conversation.
What
so
did I
I'd love
ask
to
you
know.
just now? I asked you a question.
You asked if I was bipolar.
Oh, are you bipolar?
Now, I've seen many fans of this show on the internet just blaming everything on her, like she's the one who is gaslighting, she's the narcissistic one. But this question 3 times makes me think that, well, either Cole, the man, was just fed up with her, or 2, he has also this subtle narcissistic attitude, because he asked that 3 times. If you're joking about that, things I think that I don't condone, because it's a very bad taste to joke about an actual mental condition. If you're joking about this, you say it just once and just dismiss. Oh, I'm just joking. I just can't understand your behavior, and that's it. But he was actually expecting an answer, a solid, a real answer to that. Now, in this very conversation, right before it happens, she says something that it's also a bit of a red flag. She says, I'm not gonna sit here and convince you I'm a great girl. Your family would be crazy not to love me. I am a catch of the century. I am. Okay, that was a bit over the top. That is not healthy either, praising yourself like that. And by the way, if you value yourself that much, aren't you going to take this to the wedding to embarrass yourself? Now, let's be clear. I think that Cole's attitude when asking if she's bipolar is totally unacceptable. That is not something anybody could do, either as a joke, or if she hasn't revealed that, well, that's her prerogative. Nobody has the right to force you to reveal that publicly if you don't want to. But I saw many of their conversations, and I noticed that Cole was always trying to be open, trying to be understanding. He had an open posture when talking, and this was pretty much like an outlier, something that was not normal in his attitude. And sometimes, and I have to point this out because that can happen to anybody. Sometimes narcissists try to put some traps for you to see where you fall. They usually put these traps so you can overreact, and then once they get that in public or in video or whatever, they can tell you, remember the time you reacted like this and such and such and such and what you said. They bring you to the point that you say something that you're gonna regret later, but you can't avoid that because you are just fed up of everything. I am not saying that this is the case with Cole here. It is a possibility. I haven't seen the whole season, and I don't plan of watching the whole season, but I can tell you that that is something that can happen to someone who is under a narcissistic influence. There's also the not so small fact that he is younger than her. I think that usually creates this just a bit of insecurity in men in this kind of situations, because they have to prove themselves being the woman older. The difference is not that much, but just the fact that he is younger than her, it could manifest that attitude. There's also her apology on Instagram the following day. Cole, I fought for us until I couldn't anymore. I know you know that. I know you know why I said what I said. I know you know what you did. It's okay if you aren't ready to talk about that yet. Zay. And then she has an apology for every single other person, the audience. I'm just gonna read a couple sentences of this, and let's try to understand what is the real meaning of this. The only apology the internet will get. I am sorry. I'm sorry you weren't in that relationship. I'm sorry you didn't feel what I felt. I'm sorry we don't have the same triggers. I'm sorry me standing up for myself offended you so greatly. I'm sorry you didn't see all the reasons for what I said. I'm sorry you didn't leave that with me. I'm sorry that you don't know me. That is the first paragraph. I'm not going to continue. But you notice which is the main protagonist of this apology, right? She's only pointing to herself, and it's those I'm sorry are just a crutch word to just be pointing to herself over and over again. In fact, in the second paragraph, it is, I'm sorry, I know how worthy I am. Okay? I'm sorry you don't believe me. I'm sorry you have the time to be a keyboard warrior. And this is interesting. I'm sorry you feel manipulated, gaslit, and played. I wonder why the audience feel like that. Like I said, this is regardless if you think these interactions are real or fake. There are real couples that are still married from the first season, so the relationships are real. But what I want to point out is that if you value yourself, if a woman values herself or a man values himself, they're not going to embarrass themselves and their family and their friends, bringing everyone to a wedding just to put someone in their place. You just dump them. You don't go that far. That is a huge red flag, because that means that that person, in this case she, Zanab, is histrionic. She wants the show. She wants to do it in front of everyone. Okay, she was so hurt. She wants to embarrass him, even if it means that she will be hurt too. That is wicked. But either way, I would like to know, what do you think about all this in the comments. I will be elaborating more about this in my locals community. You can join as a member for free with the link in the description of this video. And don't forget to download my 100 body language tips, also with the link in the description of this video. My body language buddies, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and much love and blaze.